push to release R. Kelly from prison amid allegations the disgraced singer was poisoned behind bars. Filed court documents claim Kelly was given a near-fatal dose of medications in solitary confinement.
We were in the Bahamas on a yacht, and the R. Kelly documentary had come out. He came into the room to watch a little bit. He's walking out of the room and he says there's a little bit of R. Kelly in all of it.
Days before the event, he was getting death threats that he felt like was coming from Jay Z. Like Jay Z was trying to basically, it may sound outrageous, but he felt like Jay Z wanted to get him killed for whatever reason.
Jay Z should have kept his mouth closed. Because everybody in the industry, they not going to tell you, but everybody know in the industry that Jay Z was talking to young girls.
So R. Kelly is claiming that they're trying to kill him in prison again. And this time he's pointing fingers straight at Jay Z and Diddy. So here's what happened. Kelly OD'd inside prison after prison staff gave him some medication. And Kelly claims this was no accident. Now, this is where it gets messy, because as you probably remember, R. Kelly's been saying since the early 2000s that Jay Z wanted him dead and deceased. That beef didn't just end with a failed tour, it ended with Kelly accusing Jay of trying to end his life. Meanwhile, some insiders also claimed that Jay asked for Diddy's help to get rid of Kelly so no one would trace it back to him. The crazy part is that just days before Kelly OD'd in prison, his lawyer publicly claimed another inmate tried to unalive Kelly, and this inmate supposedly confessed he was paid to do so by the higher-ups. So why now? Why would they try to get rid of R. Kelly in the middle of Diddy's trial? Are we looking at coincidence or something deeper? And what did Jay Z do after hearing about R. Kelly's claims? Let's break it all down.
Lawyers for singer R. Kelly are working to get him out of prison this morning after alleging that the guards are trying to kill him. Court papers say that R. Kelly was rushed to the hospital last week after an overdose of medication given to him by the prison staff.
All right, so something really weird is going on with R. Kelly, and his own lawyer just confirmed Kelly was hospitalized after prison staff gave him meds that caused a violent reaction. So Kelly had apparently been filing medical complaints for months, saying he was dealing with serious, potentially life-threatening symptoms. But according to Kelly's lawyer, the prison did nothing, and they denied him basic care. But the one time they do give him something, it nearly kills him. Something's not adding up.
They say that R. Kelly woke up allegedly on June 13th and he felt faint. He was dizzy. He started to see black spots. He got up and he fell. He crawled to the door of the cell and he lost consciousness then. At that point, he was placed on a gurney. He was taken by ambulance to a nearby hospital because they tried to take him to the hospital inside of or associated with the facility that he's in, but they couldn't help him, so they took him to an outside hospital. Now, they say in addition to this incident, this overdose, right, they're also pointing to the fact that R. Kelly allegedly has been asking for months to get some medical attention to a swollen leg. R. Kelly's legal team says that once he was taken to the hospital for this overdose situation, R. Kelly brought up the swollen leg, and they allege that doctors there then took a look at the swollen leg and they found blood clots in R. Kelly's right leg, allegedly, in his left leg, and his lungs, allegedly. But his legal team alleges that once the prison was contacted, R. Kelly was then removed against his will by guards and was not allowed to be treated.
Now, before we dive into how Jay Z and Diddy allegedly tie into all this, here's the timeline you need to know. According to legal documents obtained by USA Today, after R. Kelly was locked in solitary confinement, prison staff pumped him with way more meds than his usual dose for anxiety and sleep issues, essentially an overdose. And that's what landed him in the hospital on June 13th. But it doesn't stop there. Kelly's lawyers say he was forcibly discharged despite doctors warning that moving him was dangerous. And now Kelly's legal team is sounding the alarm and calling this a deliberate, targeted attempt on his life. And it gets even crazier. The OD comes just days after R. Kelly begged to be released from prison for his own safety and alleged that another prisoner was paid to him. On June 11th, R. Kelly's attorney, Bobby Brindley, wrote in a statement to USA Today, federal officers have solicited the of R. Kelly because he intends to expose the corruption underlying his federal prosecutions. We have filed our motion to make sure that they fail. And get this, Kelly's lawyer also told News Nation that they got their hands on a sworn affidavit from an inmate named Mikhail Stein. And Stein claims he was offered an early release deal in exchange for taking out R. Kelly.
In terms of proof, the most powerful piece of proof I can provide is the sworn statement of the man who says that he was solicited, R. Kelly. Michael Glenn Stein has provided us with a full declaration signed, and he's given his willingness to sit down for a polygraph examination administered by either side to testify in court. He has given us the details of who solicited him and when. And I think that's the key here. These are not R. Kelly's allegations. These are the allegations being made by Michael Glenn Stein, who's the person who says that he was solicited, Robert, and sent to Butner to do it from another facility.
So when they asked R. Kelly's lawyer why someone would want Kelly dead right now, the lawyer said it's simple. Kelly knows too much. Basically, he's sitting on dirt involving powerful figures and the government itself, and was allegedly threatening to expose them.
Mr. Stein, in his declaration, has set forth the reason that was given. The reason is that Mr. Kelly was about to expose some facts that would be extremely inflammatory and damaging to the Bureau of Prisons and the Department of Justice.
Now here's where Jay Z's name resurfaces. According to Kelly's legal team, the supposed hitman said in his sworn statement that this attempt isn't the first time Kelly's life has been on the line. This has been going on for years, meaning someone's been waiting for the right moment to strike.
And he told us in extraordinary detail that this is not the first instance, that this happens all the time.
And the lawyer is right. This whole someone's trying to kill R. Kelly in prison narrative isn't new. The last time it came up was in an interview with none other than Kelly's former cellmate, Ronnie Bo. And Ronnie said Kelly himself told him Jay Z was out to get him. In a sit-down with Hip Hop News Uncensored, Ronnie broke down the fallout between R. Kelly and Jay Z during their Best of Both Worlds tour. And according to Ronnie, Kelly believed Jay was jealous and actively trying to sabotage him.
And how much conflict they was experiencing with each other, like even during the process of putting the album together, but especially on tour, you know, like they kept having petty disagreements, and he felt like, you know, Jay Z, you know, kept saying things along the lines that, like, man, you not bigger than me, like you act like you bigger than me, and he felt like Jay Z was kind of insecure because R. Kelly at the time was technically bigger than him.
Now this part is where things get seriously wild. Ronnie said Kelly was already getting death threats while still on tour with Jay Z. And according to Ronnie, Kelly always felt like Jay Z was ready to literally sacrifice him.
He felt like, you know, on one of the shows, one of the events when they was in Madison Square Garden, prior to that event, he said like days before the event, he was getting death threats that he felt like was coming from Jay Z. Like Jay Z was trying to basically, it may sound outrageous, but he felt like Jay Z wanted to get him for whatever reason. I don't know if it could have been some Illuminati sacrifice type shit. I don't know. He don't know. You know what I mean? But that's how he felt.
But that's not all. Ronnie also mentioned something that might explain why Jay Z would be so desperate to keep Kelly quiet. And that's Jay's own sketchy history with young women. Look, everyone knows about R. Kelly's predatory past. But as Ronnie Bo pointed out, no one these days talks about how Jay Z was also involved with women underage like Foxy Brown.
R. Kelly pointed out to me is that, like, he basically was saying, like, just look at how hard they coming down on me with all the shit that go on in the industry, and look at how they never said nothing about how when Jay Z was messing with Foxy Brown, she was 15. You know, everybody knew that, but nobody ever bashed him about it like they bashing me over Aaliyah. And he was basically saying he never even really messed with Aaliyah on the level that everybody think, you know, he messed with her on.
But it's not just Ronnie Bo saying this. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, recently said the whole industry knows about Jay's behavior with young women, but everybody's too scared to speak up.
Jay Z should have kept his motherfucking mouth closed. Because everybody in the industry, they not going to tell you. They not going to get out and say nothing because we have this no snitching, no telling the truth, or don't say nothing type of culture. But everybody know in the industry that Jay Z was talking to young girls. See, I know in 99 and early 2000, he was dealing with Beyonce. I didn't know Jay Z was 30 years old though. And Beyonce was 17 and 18. See, Jack could have told it, but I saw it personally. I was there at the clubs, at Eugene's, at the next games. Oh, Miss Gang, somebody say, yeah, that's too old, Gene. Yeah, I'll beat a motherfucker ass try to talk to my daughter. He that old. She's 17, 18 years old. This nigga in his 30s. Oh, nigga. Don't let me catch you.
So if it's true that Jay Z's been trying to silence R. Kelly for years, where does Diddy enter the picture? Well, insiders claim that before this whole Diddy scandal exploded with the lawsuits and raids, Jay actually reached out to Diddy for backup. Apparently, allegedly, Jay leaned on Diddy's shady network of contacts to help orchestrate a hit on Kelly. And now those same insiders are claiming that the alleged against Kelly is basically Jay Z and Diddy tying up loose ends. Now, to be fair, not everyone's buying this, and Jay Z's fans are calling this whole murder plot talk a conspiracy. And they're saying Jay wouldn't even waste his time worrying about R. Kelly because, from their angle, Kelly's finished. His reputation is in the gutter, and Jay Z's got nothing to gain from taking him out. Some are even saying that this whole story is just a distraction, trying to drag Jay Z into a mess he's got no real stake in. And then some people are also pointing to Jay's billionaire status, global projects, and political ties, saying there's no way he would be involved in some underground hit through Diddy. But here's the thing. The real question isn't would Jay Z waste time on R. Kelly, it's what would Jay Z risk if Kelly actually talked? Well, let's start with the obvious. Jay Z and R. Kelly weren't just collaborators, they were close. Too close, actually, considering the allegations floating around both of them. During the Best of Both Worlds era, they were sharing entourages, hotel suites, and allegedly young women. And these allegations didn't come from some anonymous sources. They came from people in the industry. And one of the first to claim that Jay Z might have been involved in the same type of crimes as R. Kelly was none other than Nas. Years back, Nas appeared on Wendy Williams' radio show and dragged Jay Z into the mess with R. Kelly, saying flat out that Jay knew exactly what Kelly was on back then and chose to look the other way.
Valentino giving me style. That's not what I'm going to do. Yeah, I could have put up movies. I could have showed the R. Kelly video that everybody's talking about, made fun of it, and said, yeah, Jay's hanging out. When Jay and them was in there doing Best of Both Worlds, you can't tell me Jay didn't see a 14-year-old girl come in the studio and sit on R. Kelly's lap. No. You can't tell me, you won't sit here and tell me that working on that album, that he ain't never seen no 14-year-old girl come in the vicinity?
Wendy then chimed in saying that anyone who worked that closely with R. Kelly during that era had to see some dark stuff. The tour buses, the studio sessions, the hotel rooms, none of it happened in a vacuum. You had to either be blind or willfully silent. But Nas wasn't done. He pushed it even further and basically said Jay's whole "I didn't know" defense doesn't hold water, because if you're close enough to make an entire joint album and go on tour with someone like R. Kelly while all this shady behavior was going on behind the scenes, you're not just ignoring it, you're either complicit or you're doing the same thing.
My belief is that anybody who's worked with him and been in his cipher has seen it go down.
The brother needs help, and I pray for him. But if I sit there and did an album about women with him, I'm definitely maybe indulgent. He had to be indulgent for 14-year-olds.
And if Nas believed that then, imagine what someone like R. Kelly might be ready to say now. And let's not forget, R. Kelly took legal action against Jay Z after their Best of Both Worlds tour. And the fallout wasn't just messy, it was personal. Here's what went down. In 2013, R. Kelly filed a $75 million lawsuit against Jay Z and the Best of Both Worlds tour promoters. Kelly claimed he was wrongfully kicked off the tour and that Jay's team had deliberately sabotaged his performances. Kelly also cited that infamous night at Madison Square Garden when he claims he saw people pointing him in the crowd and was then allegedly pepper sprayed by someone from Jay-Z's camp. And this person was later revealed to be Jay-Z's close friend and business partner, Teron Ty Smith. The tour was supposed to be a massive cash cow for both Jay-Z and Kelly, but once it crashed, Kelly claimed he lost tens of millions in ticket sales, merchandise, and future business. So he decided to go for Jay's pockets. But if there's one thing we know about Jay-Z, it's that he's cold when it comes to his money. You can throw subliminals in songs, take shots in interviews, whatever. But the second someone threatens his bottom line, that's when the gloves come off. So right after R. Kelly hit Jay Z with that $75 million lawsuit, the dominoes started falling. It wasn't even a full year later when the early development of the Surviving R. Kelly documentary quietly started taking shape behind the scenes. And this was a documentary that would eventually take R. Kelly down. Surviving R. Kelly finally aired in 2019 and directly led to federal investigations being reopened. Within months, Kelly was arrested, hit with charges across multiple states, and eventually sentenced to 30 years.
After decades of sexual misconduct allegations, tonight, a federal judge in Brooklyn sentenced singer and convicted sexual predator R. Kelly to 30 years in prison.
This is a significant outcome for all victims of R. Kelly, and especially for the survivors who so bravely testified about the horrific and sadistic abuse they endured.
Well, remember Ronnie Bo said Jay Z funded the whole project? Well, other insiders also later alleged this and claimed Jay funneled money through connections at Lifetime and pushed for the project to move forward once the backlash against Kelly started picking up steam again. So when people say Jay plays chess, not checkers, this is what they're talking about. Kelly tried to sue him for tens of millions, and instead of going back and forth in court, Jay allegedly helped bankroll the documentary that destroyed him. Now let's be clear, none of this is to say that R. Kelly was wrongfully accused. There's more than enough evidence to prove that he was a sick predator who exploited young victims for decades. So no one's defending that part. But the timing of Jay's sudden moral awakening is what smells off. Because if Jay really cared about justice or the victims, why didn't he say something sooner? Why did he wait until after Kelly sued him for $75 million to suddenly throw his weight behind the Surviving R. Kelly documentary and help take him down? Let's not forget that Dame Dash publicly claimed Jay Z already knew R. Kelly had graped Aaliyah before they even did the Best of Both Worlds tour. And despite that, Jay still moved forward with the joint album, the tour, and a full business rollout like nothing was wrong.
I'm not part of any of that, and the karma happens. But the thing I didn't understand is I was like, I know I'm not with that. And because of the moral challenge and him choosing one way, I knew morally we weren't the same. So to me, Rockefeller was defunct. It was over. It was something that to me was just like, not to say unforgivable, but I couldn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And then I didn't understand how people didn't, I thought, well, the people aren't gonna have that. But nobody said nothing.
Standing by watching it and just not
But just nobody said nothing, but it's unconscious.
So it's definitely suspect that Jay Z only chose to get loud after R. Kelly came for his money and his ego. So while Kelly absolutely deserved to be held accountable, it's fair to ask, was Jay really out for justice or just revenge? And if Kelly's got that dirt that could actually back up his claims, then it makes sense why Jay would want him silenced. But let me know how you feel about this theory that Jay Z is behind the recent attempt on R. Kelly's life. Are people reaching with this, or do you think there could be some truth to it? Leave your comments below, and I'll catch you in this next video.